Imagine someone asks you, hey, what time is it? And you look at your digital watch, clear your throat, and you say, it is 5:53 and 40 seconds.
Yeah, which is technically perfectly fluent English.
Right. Technically flawless, but socially, I mean, you sound a bit like a robot. Maybe even a little, unsettling.
It is unsettling because human conversation isn't really about, well, perfectly transferring raw data.
It's not a data dump.
Exactly. If I ask you for the time, I don't actually need the atomic clock reading. I just need to know if I'm late for dinner.
Which makes total sense. So welcome to today's deep dive. Think about the last time you were trapped in the office break room and someone asked how your weekend was.
You probably didn't give them a minute-by-minute itinerary of your errands, right?
Definitely not. You just said, pretty good, you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're looking at today. We are exploring this fascinating source. It's a script designed specifically for English language learners.
Right, and it covers 20 simple, everyday questions and their natural answers.
But it's so much more than that.
It really is.
Yeah.
While the surface level is just basic vocabulary, the underlying mechanics serve as this brilliant psychological blueprint for human connection.
Yeah.
The core philosophy here is that the most useful language is simple, quick, and confident.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because usually when we try to improve how we communicate, we think we need more.
Right, bigger words.
Bigger words, more precise phrasing. We think of fluency as this highly complex architectural feat.
Which is exactly what traditional textbooks teach us to do.
Yeah, they do.
They give you these rigid, highly structured sentences. But if you actually speak like that in the real world, you create massive conversational friction.
It's just clunky.
Very. Real fluency doesn't sound like a machine. It sounds like water,
Yeah.
It bends around obstacles.
So our mission today is to figure out how this straightforward language guide actually teaches us to be more human.
I love that.
Because for you, the listener, if you can understand why we give the answers we do, why we actively avoid exact numbers, or why we give vague responses to complex questions, you can navigate social spaces with a lot less anxiety.
Totally. Let's start with how we manage the daily friction of human interaction.
The small talk stuff.
Right. The source gives a few examples of how we respond to questions about our current state. So question 4 is, are you busy?
Uh-huh.
The natural answer it teaches isn't a hard, yes, I am swamped, or no, I have absolutely nothing to do.
It's way softer than that.
It is. The suggested answer is just not really, which the source defines simply as not very busy.
And we see the exact same pattern with physical needs. Like question 6 is, are you hungry? And the suggested response is, a little.
Meaning slightly hungry. Yeah, you don't have to give a hard yes or no.
Right. Or question 1, what are you doing? The answer is just relaxing, meaning you're not doing anything special, simply resting.
What's fascinating here is the psychology behind these answers. It's really all about lowering the stakes.
How do you mean?
Well, think about the alternative. If you ask what I'm doing, and I say, I am reading a 500-page biography of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
Right. I am suddenly forcing you to react to that specific, heavy piece of information.
I see what you mean. It's like I'm handing you a homework assignment. You now have to come up with some intelligent response about Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly. You are drastically increasing the cognitive load of the interaction.
That makes so much sense.
By teaching the learner to say, just relaxing or a little hungry, the source is demonstrating how to act as a social buffer. You keep all options open.
Right, because if you say a definitive, yes, I am starving, suddenly the conversation becomes this whole problem-solving mission.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We have to pick a restaurant, figure out dietary restrictions, map the route.
It's exhausting. But a little means we could eat, but we don't have to panic about it right now.
It gives everyone breathing room.
I hear that, but I have to push back on one of these.
Oh, which one?
So the source highlights question 8, what's new? Asking if anything is happening in your life.
Right, a classic small talk question.
And the taught answer is, not much.
Okay, yeah.
I just feel like if you ask me what's no and I say not much, I'm essentially shutting you down. It feels like killing the conversation dead in its tracks.
It can definitely feel that way when you're just looking at the words isolated on a page.
Yeah, it looks like a brick wall.
But in practice, not much does the exact opposite. It hands the conversational steering wheel back to the other person.
Wait, really? How?
You are signaling my status is stable, I don't have a crisis or a monologue to deliver, so the floor is yours.
Oh, I see.
It's an invitation to talk, not a wall.
Okay, I can see how that plays out. It's like these phrases are linguistic shock absorbers on a car.
Oh, that's a great way to visualize it. Small talk is a remarkably bumpy road.
Right. If your car has no shock absorbers, like if you answer every single question with an absolute detailed truth, you feel every single bump.
Every single one.
Imagine a coworker asks, "Are you busy?" And you say, "Yes, I have 3 spreadsheets due in an hour, and my dog is sick."
Boom. You hit a pothole.
The conversation comes to a screeching halt. But not really, or a little, or not much. You're absorbing the impact of the question so the rides stay smooth.
You're providing highly efficient social lubrication. You acknowledge the person, and you offer a response, but you don't demand they do any heavy lifting.
Okay, so if we use these shock absorbers to manage our current state, how do we handle things when they get a bit more concrete? Like time.
Time is a great example.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Looking at the next set of questions from the source, it becomes glaringly obvious that we are socially allergic to exactness.
Completely allergic. Look at question 13 from the script. What time is it?
Yeah.
The natural answer provided is almost 6. And the text explicitly notes that this means the time is close to 6 o'clock, giving the examples of 5:52 or 5:55.
Going back to my weird robot example from the beginning, why is it so weird to just say 5.53?
Right.
I mean, we have digital watches, we have smartphones in our pockets, we know exactly what time it is down to the millisecond. Why are we actively teaching people to blur the numbers?
Because precision implies urgency.
Interesting.
If I say it's 5.53, I am injecting a level of exactitude that usually only belongs in, like a surgical theater or a train station.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For everyday life, almost 6 conveys the necessary context that the 6 o'clock hour is approaching without burdening the listener with useless data points.
It's almost like giving the exact time is a bit aggressive.
It can be. And this aversion to rigid exactness extends to our plans, too.
How so?
Well, the source highlights question 17, are you free? The natural response is, I think so.
Oh, right.
The text defines this as believing you are available, but not completely certain.
And question 18, what's your plan? The answer is, I'm not sure, which the source notes is for when you haven't decided yet.
Right.
Plus, question 20, when are you leaving? Answer, in a bit, meaning in a short while or soon.
Those phrases, I think so, I'm not sure. In a bit, they serve as essential conversational safety nets.
Let's dig into that. Safety nets against what? Committing to something you don't want to do.
I mean, sometimes, sure, we've all been there.
Yeah, definitely.
But primarily, they're safety nets against the unpredictability of being human. True fluency isn't about being perfectly accurate. It's about leaving room for the unknown.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you tell your friend, I am leaving in exactly 4 minutes. You have just created a rigid verbal contract.
Right.
If you can't find your keys, or your phone rings, or you get distracted for 5 minutes, you've broken the contract.
Oh, I've definitely had that argument. You said you were leaving 5 minutes ago.
We all have. But if you say, in a bit, you've established a flexible timeline.
It's much more forgiving.
Exactly. In a bit, easily accommodates searching for keys or saying a lingering goodbye. It shows an intuitive understanding that human communication requires flexibility.
We soften time and certainty because life itself is messy and uncertain.
Precisely.
That is incredibly profound for a simple language guide. It's basically telling the learner, to speak this language naturally, you have to embrace ambiguity. Stop trying to be a Swiss watch and start being a person.
And this brings up a crucial pivot, actually. We use ambiguity to protect our schedules and soften the bumps of small talk. But we can't just float through life saying, not much, and in a bit.
Right, that would get annoying fast.
We have to anchor ourselves somewhere.
We do, and the source groups a set of everyday phrases that do exactly that. They anchor our routines, state our basic needs, and provide reassurance to the people around us.
The anchors are so important.
Let's start with those. Question 2, where are you going? The source says the natural answer is, I'm heading home.
A very natural way to say you're going home.
Right. Question 3, what did you do? Answer, I stayed home, meaning you didn't go anywhere. And question 9, where do you live? Answer, I live nearby.
Let's look at the mechanism there. Home and nearby. They are spatial anchors.
Okay.
When you tell someone, I live nearby, you are instantly establishing a shared geographic reality. You're bringing them into your orbit without giving out your exact street address.
Which again lowers a cognitive load for both of you. It's the same with stating needs too. The guide keeps it incredibly basic.
Oh, absolutely.
Like question 14 asks, what do you want? And the fill-in-the-blank answers are just some coffee, water, food, tea.
Or question 10, what do you need? The answers are some help, money, time.
Nobody is saying, I want a half-calf iced oat milk latte with 2 pumps of vanilla.
Which, let's be honest, is how a lot of people actually order coffee.
Right, but for basic conversational flow, the simple word coffee gets the job done.
It does more than get the job done. Stating a simple, unadorned need makes it easy for the other person to fulfill it or acknowledge it.
Oh, that makes sense.
If you say, I need some help, the barrier to entry for the other person to step in is very low. If you launch into a highly complex, specific request right out of the gate, you might overwhelm them.
But I think the most fascinating mechanism in this whole source revolves around reassurance.
Yes.
Because we don't just state our own needs. We constantly manage the emotions of the people we are talking to.
The source highlights a few key phrases for this, like question 7, how was your day? Answer, pretty good.
Meaning good or quite good, yeah.
And question 15, did you sleep well? Answer, pretty well.
And then we get to the heavy hitters. Question 16, what's wrong? The source notes this is used when someone notices you don't look happy.
Right.
And the taught answer, assuming things are okay, is nothing's wrong.
And question 19, which the guide actually calls one of the most useful in everyday English, can you help me? The friendly response is, of course, meaning yes, certainly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the emotional utility of nothing's wrong, and of course it's just staggering.
Think about what is happening psychologically there. When someone asks, what's wrong? They are extending empathy. They're scanning your face, noticing your state, and offering support.
It's a very vulnerable moment for both people, honestly.
It really is. So when you say nothing's wrong, you are regulating the shared emotional environment. You are signaling that the threat level is 0. And conversely, when someone is vulnerable enough to ask, can you help me? And you immediately respond with, of course, you are reinforcing the social bond.
You're saying, I am reliable. You are safe with me.
Exactly. These tiny phrases are the absolute bedrock of human empathy and social harmony.
It makes me think of an artist's palette.
Oh, how so?
Well, when you first start painting, you assume you need a massive box with 100 highly specific colors, like burnt sienna and cerulean blue to paint a masterpiece.
All right, you think you need everything.
But master painters often use a limited palette. They just need the primary colors. That's what these phrases are.
I love that analogy.
You don't need a massive, convoluted vocabulary to paint a beautiful, connected social interaction. You just need the primary colors: home, coffee, pretty good, of course.
And if you only have those primary colors, the real challenge is learning how to paint with them without constantly looking down at the color wheel.
Yes.
Which is exactly what the final part of this source addresses.
Right, because theory is great, but knowing the answers isn't the same as actually speaking them out loud. The source dedicates an entire section to a speaking challenge and a final practice.
It doesn't just hand you a list of 20 questions and say, good luck.
No, it intentionally forces a transition from passive listening to active confidence.
It really pushes the learner.
Let's test how that works, actually. The source specifically asks the viewer to pause, not look at the answers on the screen, and answer naturally by themselves.
Okay.
So what does this all mean? Let's try it. Listener, imagine I just ran into you on the street. I'm going to throw 2 of these challenge questions out there, and let's see how automatic your brain is. Ready?
I'll play the role of the listener. Go for it.
Hey! How was your day?
Pretty good.
Oh, nice. Hey, can you help me with something?
Of course.
It's wild. It fires like a reflex. But why? Why does the source insist you have to do this without looking at the answers? If I'm trying to memorize something, shouldn't I stare at the text as long as possible?
This raises an important question about how we typically try to learn new things, whether it's a language, a piece of software, or public speaking.
We just cling to the safety net.
We do. We rely on passive reading. But the pedagogical wisdom in this source is that real neuroplasticity, like the actual rewiring of your brain to make something automatic, requires you to remove that safety net.
Because if you're looking at the screen, you're just reading. You aren't generating the thought yourself.
Exactly. The source instructs the learner to listen, repeat, but then crucially say them without looking at the screen.
Right.
And finally, use them in real conversations daily. The transition from knowing something intellectually to doing it naturally requires taking your eyes off the instructions and embracing real-world repetition.
And it goes even further, integrating that repetition into the architecture of the internet itself.
Yes, the YouTube ending.
Yeah, at the very end, it has the classic YouTube call to action. It asks the viewer to like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, but then it adds a specific prompt.
Comment below telling them which of the 20 questions was the easiest to answer.
Right. Which isn't just about feeding the algorithm.
No, not at all. From a learning perspective, it's forcing engagement. Language doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in the space between people.
Oh, that's good.
By asking the viewer to comment, to engage, to speak out loud, the source is moving them from the sterile, isolated environment of a passive student into the dynamic environment of an active participant.
It's taking that rigid textbook robot we talked about at the beginning and tossing it into the river so it learns to flow like water.
It's the ultimate goal of fluency.
So, wrapping up here, what does this all mean for you? Whether you're genuinely brushing up on your English language skills or prepping for a high-stakes meeting or just trying to navigate a chaotic, noisy world.
I think the real aha moment here is realizing that complex thought doesn't always require complex vocabulary.
Totally agree.
In fact, the most socially intelligent thing you can do is often the simplest. By keeping communication simple, quick, and confident. By using linguistic shock absorbers like, not really, or softening time with, in a bit, or offering immediate reassurance with, of course you aren't dumbing down your communication.
Far from it.
You are making yourself adaptable, empathetic, and profoundly human. You are recognizing that managing the friction of human interaction is way more important than being perfectly precise.
You're smoothing out the bumpy road of daily life for yourself and everyone around you. But I want to leave you with one final, maybe slightly provocative thought to mull over as you go about your day.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've just spent this entire deep dive unpacking how these 20 simple phrases are the absolute foundation of natural, everyday connection.
The shared social dance, right?
Right. But if our everyday language is built on these highly predictable, deeply ingrained, quote-unquote, scripted phrases, how much of our daily interaction is actually spontaneous, original thought? And how much is just us playing our assigned part in that comforting social dance? The next time a coworker asks you how you're doing and you automatically answer, pretty good, ask yourself, who is really doing the talking right then? Is it you or is it the social script?
That is a great question.
Because maybe, just maybe, the best way to handle the chaos of human interaction is to trust the script and just let the conversation flow.